of aggression through imitation of aggressive models. My study is part of the learning approach. The main assumptions of this approach is that all behavior is learned, and psychologists should focus on observable behavior that can be measured. The strengths of this approach include that it can gather observable data, it gives simple explanations of how people and animals learn, and it seeks to explain how many mental illnesses are acquired. Some weaknesses of this are also that it is hard to ignore the cognitive factors, and it is reductionist, which means behavior is influenced by more factors other than just experience. The psychology being investigated is observable learning of aggression. The background of this is that therapists believe there are 3 possibilities as to what causes aggression. Number 1 is that everybody is biologically pre-programmed. Number 2, situational factors. And 3, aggression is learned. Social learning theory. Learning occurs through the interaction with other people and through the use of observation and modeling. Observational learning is learning by observing others. Modeling is the process of observing and imitating a specific behavior, and it is believed that this behavior is facilitated by neurons that fire both when a person acts and when they observe others acting. This video is a video of a professor further explaining observational learning.
Observational learning. We do a lot of our learning not through direct reinforcement, not through direct punishment, not through direct exposure to stimuli that impinge upon us physically, but on watching other people. Right? We're watching stuff, and we're learning, because we're a very sophisticated species. Not all species can watch and learn. It looks like apes can do this. Monkeys can do this. To some degree, some other animals. But how many people, by show of hands, know how to rob a bank? Raise your hand if you know how to rob a bank. There you go. All you other people? Seriously? You don't know how to rob a bank? You don't have any idea how to rob a bank? I didn't ask you, are you going to rob a bank? I said, do you know how to rob a bank? Now, how many people know how to rob a bank, but wouldn't do it? You really don't know how to rob a bank? Or you just don't want to raise your hand? Well, here's the thing, right? You take in a pretend gun, right? Take in a note. You say, give me all the money. That's how you do it, right? You've seen a movie, right? Have you not seen movies on bank robbery, right? I didn't say you were going to do it. I said you know how to do it. In other words, we know how to do lots of things, maybe successfully or unsuccessfully, right, that we don't actually do. And this was discovered by Bandura, Albert Bandura, during his Bobo doll experiment. His Bobo doll experiment was this. He had preschool kids watch models televised, right? They recorded adult models beating up a Bobo doll. Bobo doll's like old schmoo. It's got a weight at the bottom. It's a little blow-up doll. It's about this high. You whack it, falls over, pops right back up. That's a Bobo doll. Huh? Bobo could look like a clown. Yeah, I've got a picture of the original Bobo doll, and it does look like a clown. Anyway, what they thought back in the day was boys are naturally aggressive. Girls just aren't naturally aggressive. Girls, sugar and spice and all the things nice. You might have a crazy one every now and then, but they just can't do that. They're not capable of aggression. So what Bandura did was he set up some experimental conditions where he showed adults beating up on the Bobo doll. Boom, boom, and they would say things like, pow, kick, and they sit on them, they do all these very specific behaviors. And then he would ask the kids to show me the behavior you saw in the video, right? And there are a lot of different variations on this, but the upshot is this. Initially, you ask the boys that, and they would do what? Bam, kick, pow, and they do exactly what they saw in a lot of it, without any prompting. The girls would be like, right? Because, and you're like, well, see, they just don't do it. But then he offered a reward incentive, right? So then he showed models, and he has a lot of different variations on this, but if they were offered juice and cookies and stickers, all of a sudden these girls are like, bam, bam, pow, kick them, sock them. Cookie, please. Right? So it wasn't that they couldn't do it, right? It was that they had been socialized. What happens when girls in the 50s and all the times up to that point started acting aggressive? Girls don't do that. They got punishment for doing that. Boys, when they act aggressive, what? Oh man, take that out on the field, buddy. That's right. You want to stick it to them. You got to be a tough guy. You got to be a macho man, right? So they got actual reinforcement for certain kinds of aggression, where girls got punishment for aggression. And what Bandura showed was it's not a sex difference, genetic sex difference, where men are wired to be aggressive and women are wired not to be aggressive. It's observational learning. And this is the thing you want to know for your test. Attention is required. Maybe you saw a bank robber movie, but you didn't pay attention. If you didn't pay attention, you couldn't know how to do it because you might be able to logically conclude how you would do it, but if you didn't see it, you can't learn it, right? If you didn't hear it, you couldn't learn it. So the observation has to occur with attention. Then you've got to be able to remember it. Mental retention has to occur. So you might have seen something as a kid and then forgotten about it. And that way, you learned it, but you kind of unlearned it. Reproduction must be possible. You must be able to do the behavior before we would see the behavior. And then there must be a motivation to exist. That's when he found the girls just didn't have a motivation to do the aggressive behavior. In fact, they had a motivation not to do the aggressive behavior, to be consistent with their own views of self and their prior learning history, which says that you get punished if you behave. So let me pull this up real quick, just for your deeper learning. They don't need it, but you might want it. Those who left being they. So some learning is latent. It has occurred, but it remains undemonstrated. And we have that all the time in our lives. There's all kinds of things we've learned that we haven't done. So the girls had learned aggression, but they didn't demonstrate aggression. They watched it, so they paid attention. They remembered how to do it. They could do it, but then they wouldn't do it. Because there was no external incentive or any learning history that would encourage that behavior in that circumstance. When they changed the contingency, they got different behavior. And I use an example with my son where when he was really little, he used to watch his sister do the dishes. There's a 12-year difference between them, right? She hated doing dishes, but he loved her, and so he wanted to do dishes, right? So he paid attention. He can remember how, but you don't let a 5-year-old do the dishes, do you? Right? Because they're going to break them. So he couldn't really do it. He couldn't put the dishes up. He couldn't hold on to them without dropping them. So we didn't let him do the dishes, but he pretended to do the dishes. So he understood the concept. Well, years go by. She's gone. He's there. He reaches that age. I say, guess what? It's time to do the dishes. And then he says, what? I don't know how to do the dishes. I don't want to do the dishes. I don't know how to do the dishes. And I thought, well, I know you've seen it. I know you remembered it. And now I know you can do it. And if you don't do it, I'm going to remove some of your privileges. If you do it, you'll get to keep your privileges and you'll have my appreciation. And all of a sudden, dishwashing happens, right? And so what we have is a change in motivation where the latent learn is now manifest, where what we're really looking at is vicarious reinforcement and punishment. You can also learn by watching other people be punished, right? You don't rob a bank. No matter how many heist pictures you've seen, right? You see people rob a bank, you know how, but you don't have the motivation because what do you see? They usually get caught and killed or punished, right? So you don't have to actually go out and try robbing a bank and getting caught and put in prison to know not to do it. You see other people punished and learn not to do it. Or you see other people rewarded for things and learn to do it. And that's it for this test, y'all. I appreciate very much you taking the time to hang out with me a few more minutes. It was about 20 more. And I thank you. Y'all have a great spring break. Knock out that test when you get back.
Okay. On to the aims of this study. The overall aim of the study is to investigate observational learning of aggression. And there are two specific aims. The first one is to see whether children would repeat the aggressive behavior when the model was no longer present, and 2, to look for gender differences in the learning of aggression. And there are 4 hypotheses in this study. The first one is that children shown the aggressive models will show significantly more imitative aggressive behavior than those shown non-aggressive behavior or no models. The second one is that children shown the non-aggressive models will show significantly less aggressive behavior than those shown aggressive models or no models. 3, children will imitate the behavior of same-sex models to a greater degree than those of the opposite sex. And 4, boys will show significantly more imitative aggression than girls, especially with the male model rather than a female aggressive model. The research method of this study is a lab experiment with controlled observations, and the research design is independent measures and matched pairs. The sample of this study is an opportunity sample, and the study takes place at Stanford University. The sample consists of 72 total children, 36 boys and 36 girls, from the university's nursery school. The age range is 37 to 69 months, which is 3 to 6 years of age. There are 4 independent variables: presence of the model, behavior of the model, which is aggressive or non-aggressive, gender of the model, and gender of the child. And the dependent variable is the amount of aggression displayed by the children in a later situation. The apparatus of this study are all the toys within the rooms that the children are placed in. For example, the aggressive toys are the mallet, dart gun, tetherball, and the Bodo doll. And some non-aggressive toys are the fire truck, the plane, and other dolls in the room. Some controls of this experiment are that before the experiment began, researchers and teachers rated the children on a 5-point scale on previous display of physical and verbal aggression and aggression towards objects and ability to control their behavior when they were angry. This allowed equal placement for children in terms of aggression level within the groups, which allowed for matched pairs. Procedures. So it is important to note that there is no report of control groups. In regards to treatment in the rooms, it is assumed that they were just placed in the room with toys and they were observed to see what they would do. For phase 1, the setup for both the aggressive and non-aggressive conditions, children were taken into a room at the nursery, and the model was invited to join their game. The children sat at one corner of the room with stickers and potato prints, while the model sat in the opposite corner with the toys and the mallet and the Bodo doll, and then the experimenter left the room. The non-aggressive condition in phase 1, the model assembles and plays with the toys and ignores the Bodo doll for 10 minutes. Also in phase 1, the aggressive condition, models started playing by themselves with the toys for 1 minute, and then they started beating on the Bodo doll with specific acts that could be imitated by the children, including laying on it, punching it, kicking it, and they were also displaying verbal aggression such as phrases as boom and pow. Phase 2. All children were taken to the next room and subjected to mild aggression arousal. This was conducted, and the children were allowed to play with the aggressive toys for 2 minutes, and then told by the experimenters they had to save the best toys for the other children. Next, every child was told they could play with any toy in the next room, and they were all taken to room 3. Phase 3. Each child was taken to a room with a one-way mirror. Children were observed for 20 minutes by 2 observers and recorded actions every 5 seconds. A neutral experimenter sat on the opposite side of the room while the children played with the toys. Observers were not told which condition the child was put in, but they were told if they had watched a female or male model. There were 4 categories of displayed behavior. The first one was imitative behavior of the aggressive model. The second one was partial imitation of the aggressive model. The third, non-imitative physical and verbal aggression. And 4, non-aggressive behavior. And this video is a summary of the previous slides, including the hypotheses and the procedures.
Was a key psychologist in the approach of the Bobo doll experiment. He wanted to find out how young children develop aggressive behavior. So he conducted the Bobo doll experiment in the 1960s to find out if children learnt aggressive behavior by watching role models. He had 4 hypotheses. 1. Aggressive models will lead to more aggressive behavior. 2. Non-aggressive models will lead to less aggressive behavior. 3. Same-sex models will have more impact. And 4. Boys will have more aggressive responses than girls. 72 children, which were divided in 3 groups of 24 children, consisting of 12 females and 12 males. 6 females and 6 males responded to a female model, and 6 females and 6 males responded to a male model. 1 group responded to an aggressive role model, 1 responded to a non-aggressive role model, and 1 responded to no model. The age range of the children was from 37 months to 69 months. The children would watch a video of a model demonstrating certain behavioral acts towards a Bobo doll. The child would then be placed in a room with a Bobo doll and other toys. Many of the children copied aggressive behavior and modeled both physical and verbal behaviors they had just seen. Bandura's findings found that children in an aggressive state imitated many of the modeled physical and verbal aggressive behaviors, and children in a non-aggressive state imitated fewer of the modeled behaviors. In conclusion, Albert Bandura concluded with the study that aggressive behavior can be learned by observation.
On to the results of this study. Children from the aggressive group showed significantly more imitation of the model's physical and verbal aggression than the non-aggression groups did. Children from the aggressive model show more partial imitation and more non-imitation of physical and verbal aggression. Children in the non-aggressive group showed little aggression. In non-aggressive groups, a male model had a significant inhibiting effect on children. Boys were significantly more imitative of physical and verbal aggression with a male model, and girls displayed more verbal imitative aggression and non-imitative aggression with female models. Children can learn as a result of imitation, and without reinforcement, people can produce new behaviors that have observed and generalized these to new situations. Female aggression caused confusion amongst the children because it went against social norms. Aggressive male models are more likely to be imitated as it is seen as normal behavior within society. Strengths of the study. The lab setting enabled better controls of the variables, and it also provided a cause and effect between modeled behavior and recorded behavior. The lab setting also allowed for easy replication of the study. Quantitative data allowed for inferential statistics, and qualitative data provided an overall better picture for the results. Weaknesses of the study. There was low ecological validity, lack of mundane realism. There was no true standardization of the models. The sample was from one middle-class nursery school, so it was too small to be generalized to other populations. It is criticized as categorizing children's behavior as aggressive, but the children may have seen their behavior as play, and there are many ethical issues which will be discussed in a later slide. Ecological validity. Children are not normally in a room with a stranger and an inflatable doll, so they might have been uncomfortable. The rooms lacked adults and peers that the children knew, which may have affected the children's behavior. You also cannot generalize these results from beating up a Bodo doll to other situations. A Bodo doll is supposed to be hit, and these bizarre acts of aggression were shown and were imitated against a Bodo doll, not a real person. Ethics. All the participants were children. It is unknown if parental consent was given. Debriefing was also not mentioned, and there were possible long-term effects. For example, children may have been aggressive after the experiment. Children were also asked to witness aggressive behavior. They were expected to show aggressive behavior, and the children were slightly provoked to feel aggression when they were told they couldn't play with certain toys. The children were observed without knowing through the one-way mirror, and some children experienced distress during the study. In phase 2, they stopped the kids from playing with the nice toys, and in phase 3, some kids did not want to go to the next room without the experimenter, or they wanted to leave before their time was up. Application of everyday life demonstrated how children can learn new behaviors from watching others. In social learning, theorists believe that most of one's personality is formed through the modeling process, and it also laid the groundwork for research and studies on the effect of children watching violence within the media and in person as well. And that is my presentation on Bandura.